Hey guys, it's Jarius from My Relatable Revival, and today I'm going to be talking about the number 13, because I feel like there's so many bad omens connected to the number 13, but when you go deeper into spiritual science, you'll realize that 13 is actually connected to the primordial mother. 13 is actually it's actually a number the elites utilize, but they try to tell us that it's they gave us those superstitions and told us that the number 13 is like a bad omen. And of course, all numbers have, polarity. There's polarity to everything. So there are, lighter manifestations of the number 13 and darker manifestations of the number 13. So, the first example I can think of when I think about the number 13 is the death card in the tarot deck. It's related with Scorpio, so it's symbolizing the death to the matter of oneself and to the rebirth of the soul, uncertainty, hesitation, fickleness, transformation, the end of something. It could mean the death and renewal. It could also mean a rupture, like a very important change. So I don't necessarily mean, I think that was a perfect example of the polarity of the number 13 and what it means. And then let's talk about Friday the 13th, because, there's literally a movie out about it, with Freddy, and it's used to program people to be scared of Friday the 13th. And also, a bad omen got picked up back in 1307 when a whole bunch of the Knights Templars, a whole bunch of the knights, got persecuted and they were burned at the stake on Friday the 13th of 1307. And it said that Jesus was said to be crucified on the cross on Friday the 13th. And then there's a myth with Friday the 13th, if you see a black cat, then that means there's bad luck. And there's also a common myth, come in the same door that you go out on Friday the 13th. So there's a lot of bad omens and scary superstitions when it comes to Friday the 13th. But let's talk about how the elites, they utilize the number 13. The elites understand the true power behind the number 13. Companies use the 13th letter M in their names and symbols to pay homage to elites and their gods for money. So I think of Marathon, McDonald's, I'll show some more examples in the presentation I make. But those are just some I can think of. The Kabbalists, or, the Mafia, as we call them, use it to represent the snake, the dragon, the Satan, the murderer, evil spirits, basically their gods that they worship. 13. The 13 is also, there's a bad omen with the number 13 because the 13th chapter is Revelations. And then there's the Witness of Jehovah having 13 fundamental doctrines. And then there was the story of the Tower of Babel, of the 13th tribe of Israel, that was bringing in femininity, rebellion, and imperfection. So that's some more information that may cause people to think of bad omen towards the number 13. But the Aztecs, the Egyptians, the Atlanteans, they understood the power of the number 13. They measured time in their calendar by the number of 13. The Sumerians, they had a 13th zodiac constellation wheel that they used. Some hotels refused to make a 13th room or a 13th floor. And then I think of the card deck, how the card deck has 13 hearts, 13 spades, 13 diamonds, and 13 squares. So, and then another thing associated with the number 13 that I thought was really cool was the 13 gates of the woman's body. Like, we have 2 breasts, we have a urethra, we have a vagina, we have an anus, we have a navel, we have a mouth, we have 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and 2 eyes. And then more about how the elites utilize the 13 number is you think about the 13 stripes on the flag to represent the first 13 colonies. And then also in the religion of Judaism, once the male turns 13, he has a bar mitzvah, he gets circumcised, and that's basically them initiating him into manhood. Okay, so what is the real meaning of the number 13? So basically the number 13, it's basically a broken down number of 4. It's basically 1 traits, 3 traits, and then 4 traits all together. But a lot of the 4 traits will definitely resonate with the 13 energy. But the 13 energy basically brings independence, prioritizing practicality over creativity, one who doesn't rely on others for help or advice. So if that's for your betterment or detriment, right? 4 can also be associated with Uranus and Aquarian energy. So it's like marching to the beat of your own drum. You can notice that people who are born on the 13th, some big themes in their life is going to be security, pragmatism, and great focus. In order for a 13 to really thrive in life and not to get caught up in lawlessness and stuff like that, they got to find something to find great focus on, to be pragmatic about, and to really hone a lot of their hard work into that. Because, on the flip side, 13 energy can bring lawlessness, it can bring drugs, it can bring, imprisonment, it can bring incarceration. 4 is also a number to deal with, the law, again, so, incarceration, maybe, rehabs. And 13 is a very karmic number. The number 4 is very karmic. So it's very important if you have the 13 energy number, if you were born on the 13th, or if you, let's say you have a lot of the 13th degree in your chart, you may resonate with this energy a lot, right? So it's going to be very important for you to do good, to get good things in your life, because you're going to notice that your karma manifests almost instantly in your life, and vice versa. So number 13 again is all about ending old cycles and patterns and habits to prosper. So if you're number 13, you can notice that maybe you picked up on one of your parents' just whole wiring, or the way that they think and go about life, and maybe you see that you feel like you're just a carbon copy of maybe your mom or your dad, but you know that you need to choose a different route, because this can again, it's a karmic number, so you can be born into very difficult situations and stuff. And again, it's all about ending old cycles and patterns and habits to prosper and to thrive, and to bring great focus to something that you're really passionate about. Okay? So the number 13 is about balance and polarity, integration, a lot of hard work, again, lawlessness, but that was my little research, my little presentation about the number 13. I've always been fascinated with the number 13, because I've just always seen it everywhere, and I've seen it being associated with lawlessness and criminals, but then I've also seen it been associated with the Divine Mother. But again, there's polarities in every number. But this is Jay Arias with My Relatable Revival, and this has been my presentation about the number 13. Thank you so much for listening.